Greetings, fellow Martians, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Farlanders, Episode 2, Martian Swimming Pool. So here's the trading screen, and she wants me to buy electronics. So buying 2 electronics for 500 credits at 250 per unit, and it requires 1 trading platform for delivery. So on next turn, one of my 2 trading platforms will get the electronics essentially parachuted to it. There we go. Also, in terms of the symbols down here, oh, we're nearly there. Next, research commerce and build a spaceport to accept more incoming ships and cargo. Find the best location for the spaceport to maximize the amount of potential landing platforms. Build 2 landing platforms would be good, 3 would be ambitious. Being ambitious is what got me here. So, with our tech tree, glass production, and then commerce. So the way this works is with the spaceport, the spaceports have to be built on solid ground, and what she just said is that we can aim for... Ambitious would be aiming for 3 landing pads. So if I build a spaceport right here, this is sort of like a perfect spot, or here would be also a perfect spot, but this is more open, so there's more that I can add to this area, so I'm going to build the spaceport right there. One of the advantages of this spot is I already had a tunnel system adjacent to it, so I don't need to build a new tunnel system for the spaceport. I don't, however, have the refined minerals to build the landing pads, but we'll get there. So I was saying this symbol here just means that there's going to be new trade opportunities in 1 turn. I know I'm like, my image is, image is blocking some of the queued things there, but it's not really important when it's like 3 turns out. You'll see it eventually. Oh, here's a new terraforming pattern. So this would give me access to the north. This, yeah, so I kind of like the shovels for this terraforming pattern, or even this, because this allows me to have yet another farm. I mean, in this tutorial it wouldn't really matter, but I'm just trying to think strategically if this was like a full campaign and not a intro campaign. And I'm not going to build my landing pads this turn. I'm going to wait 1 more turn. It does mean that I'm going to be turning down immigrants, but that's fine. I'm trying to save up my refined metals so I can exceed expectations and build 3 landing pads. Your work inspires me, Marco. Now, for your final task, a glass refinery. Glass is required when constructing complex buildings. Glass refineries can be built over silicon deposits. Regular mineral deposits won't work. We already have one, but perhaps you can create one closer to the colony using mineral terraforming set. Apply the mineral terraforming set on a wasteland to create silicon deposits. So, the wasteland is mostly just in your way, except for when you're trying to create silicon. Because if you terraform where the wasteland is, as she said, it creates silicon instead. So let's put a silicon or a glass factory right here, right next to our regular one. And remember to familiarize yourself with the different terraforming combinations in the encyclopedia. So this is what she's referring to. Like if you want to make a water, there's a bunch of different ways. You can make water on ground, water on sand, you can make water on fertile soil, or you can make water in canyons for liquid water. If you want to create wasteland, you can do a terraforming set of waste dump on ground or sand, but if you do a waste dump already on a wasteland, it creates a canyon. Right, so there's a bunch of different like sort of combinations that you can make in order to terraform, and there's even more terraforming sets once you go underground, because this game has multiple Z levels, as you can see over here on the bottom left of the screen. So what does she ask me to do? Build a glass refinery? I don't have enough metals for that. Next turn I will. What terraforming set? There we go. The glass refiners have the same adjacency negative modifiers because they're noisy. And they also will ruin soil. Absolutely stellar work, Marco. It's been humbling witnessing your work. You work. I think I've learned more from you than my entire time at the Academy, Victoria. Great work, you two. Leland's going to be pretty darn happy once he sees my report. Mission accomplished. We're almost out of trainee phase. So chapter 3, let's do the call. Leland, good news, folks. Marco here has officially survived his probationary period. Congrats, Marco. Thanks. I got the email from HR2. So, you know, obviously I would have seen the email had I read that, but you guys voted for me to do Cliff Note version. What's going to be different? Mostly nothing, just a few little perks here and there. The major difference is that you'll now have more control over your terraforming options. And you won't need my approval on every little thing anymore. You've got the clearance. Exactly. You'll be calling a lot more of the shots from now on. More importantly, you're getting to the bread and butter of what Foresight is all about, creating a life of luxury for every last Martian. Don't worry though, we're still terraforming. You're still the terraforming manager, so you'll be getting your hands plenty dirty. That all sounds good to me. What's my first order of business? Well, you might want to slip into your comfiest bathing suit, because you're building a pool. What? So, we want to build a swimming pool. We gain extra experience if we complete the main objective by 30 turns. And the side objectives is to have a colony-wide happiness of at least +1 morale, and to create water with the help of terraforming. There is also sort of like more story that obviously I'm not looking at, where insufferably Marco is also kind of like a blogger slash YouTuber who has his own blogs that he posts about, and that's part of the story. I'm trying to click on any of those blogs. Yeah, here's him like blogging that he's officially a Martian. It provides you a lot more context to the story, but again, it's not necessary for playing. So building a swimming pool. All right. Okay, Margot, let's see what happens when you mix business with pleasure. One of Foresight's mission statements is making life comfortable and fun for every Martian. That's why you get to build a pool. I can't say I expected this, but I like it. What do I need to do? You need to get crafty with your use of water to get a pool going. You'll also have to keep your eye on colonist happiness. But if you manage to build a swimming pool, you'll be the first. You'll get to host the first ever pool party. That'd be make for a heck of a vlog. And you better aim to get that pool built. Now I'll go ahead and leave it to you, but I'll chime in here and there. So this is where we get to decide where we're going to land. The game will warn you if you lack access to something. So here's a case where, like, there's no minerals in this region. There's no minerals here. There is minerals and water here. And it'll also warn you if there's no water, because water and minerals are pretty essential. Comparing these two, this area would be better because it has more arable land. Obviously, it's all sand and not farmable over there. So building in this sort of swath is, I think, going to be ideal. Oh, the other thing worth mentioning, if you restart the game, it'll be a little different. So she's going to say the same thing, but as you can see, the terrain is not the same as it was just a second ago. So if you're ever like, oh man, the RNG of this map sucks, you can always just like restart and give yourself, you know, a better deck of cards. So for instance, like this one, I would say this sucks, right? Because like this has one spot I can farm, and it's surrounded by like canyons and mountains, and it's going to be really hard to terraform to make it running. Water that is adjacent to the map edge is going to be pretty worthless in terms of farming because you can't farm off the map tile. So this would be one of those like RNG maps that I'm like, oh god, this is insufferable. Blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, same conversation. So yeah, I would probably pick here. Generally, I also like to try to settle into the middle of the map. Actually, I could pick here. Because the middle of the map is closest to everything, whereas if you settle off in one corner, it's really hard to get corner to corner, whereas middle to edge is a lot simpler. Just sort of theory. So this, the only issue with settling here is there's wasteland there. But I am going to gamble and say that wasteland is going to get cleared up early on. Again, a gamble. Maybe I shan't, but I'm gonna anyway. So because we have to consider colony morale while we play, I have to make sure that we don't get too close to the factory with our houses. So I measured it out. And I'm planning on trying to get rid of this wasteland ASAP, or wasteland here ASAP. I could have actually put the cables up that way, but the reason I put the cables here is it will work for the greenhouses. And I guess I'll actually get the greenhouse going already. There we go. So I got a landing pad, 2 empty homes for 10 people, and the greenhouse. Yeah, that's all I want to do this turn. So first oh, by the way, now you can use recycling option on your terraforming panel to get you some Terra Tech. Right, I can always get Terra Tech for my unwanted sets. So what it's saying here is I can recycle this terraforming set for 2 Terra tokens, or Terra Tech. And what that allows you to do is do other terraforming options. This is going to be a lot less useful early on in the campaigns, but later on it becomes more useful. So taking a look at these, this is about creating water. And the water I create here is probably going to be used for water pumps. So I'm going to create water in this spot here, because it's very, very close to my base, meaning it's going to be very easy for me to hook up for providing water to the colony. And I'll add some additional housing, because in 2 turns I have immigration coming in. I did get tech tree points, so energy conservation and water extraction. Planning out the solar panels. Solar panels up here would be great. There's not a lot of mountains up here, and I don't foresee using this terrain other than this here. This permanent ice, because it's surrounded by a lot of potentially fertile soil. This area should be avoided, this 3x3 square. But out here, I can put solar panels. So I'll put my first solar panel right here. I'm going to wire that up. And the reason I'm choosing out here is it's beyond where the wasteland is. So I'm not going to be able to put people up there for work facilities, so I might as well have solar up there. Alright, next turn, I get terraforms and immigrants. So here comes the immigration. And we can check the checklist and objectives. So the checklist is just like milestones to hit, and the objective is ultimately what we're trying to do. So it wants me to reach a population of 30 size. Alright, perfect. I have 2 shovel tech. So in this case, I can shovel here or here. The benefit of here is it gives me more farmland, but the tunnels that I have to create for the factory are a little bit longer. The benefit here is the tunnels for the factory are shorter, but it doesn't help me with farmland. I think I'm going to go here, even though it's going to be more costly up front. Because for me to get people working into that factory, I have to create a long tunnel system, which is expensive, and it's going to take me some turns. The thing is, I'm going to miss the next migration wave as a result of choosing the long route. But in the big scheme of things, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Another thing to manage is resource shortages. So at this moment, I'm going to be out of power in 3 turns and out of water in like 5 turns or whatever. That's not a concern of mine at present. Wow, I have so little resources. I kind of regret going the long way, but oh well. If I had, well, actually, here I'll change my decision here. If I undo the turn, well, I guess it's too late for that. What I was thinking of, once I hit 30 population, I get access to trades. And I could just outright buy the refined minerals, but that's not the situation I'm in right now. So I think what I'll do to remedy this is to just save up to hit 30 pop so I can trade for those metals that I require. And just minimize the amount of shortages that I have in the meantime. All right, more patterns. I like that choice. Gives me a lot shorter access to the factory if I can get a shovel pattern. All right. So this is a case where it paid off to gamble like I did. So now I can have a very short access to the factory. The thing is, I have a bit of a water shortage, so I'm going to have to spend my saved up resources making sure that the water is flowing. So now I'm being warned of a power shortage. Wow, I am not managing well, huh? Oh, still in power shortage? Okay, well, I'll show you what the power... Oh, well, I'm not in power shortage yet. That's good. But I'm about to be... Okay, no longer in power shortage. And what I really need is a tube to this factory. This probably, for you, goes to show, like, how important it is to be factory adjacent as soon as possible. Because if you're not, it becomes very difficult to recover from, as having severely limited access to strategic resources like refined metals is pretty brutal. Because I need one more, one more mineral to open up that factory. Or metal, whatever I keep calling it. Okay, factory's running. Power's not in shortage. Oh, the other thing I could have done is to run the water pump at half capacity to save a lot of power. I just didn't. So this is the last immigration wave that I'm likely going to miss. Because now I'm going to have a lot more refined metals to be able to play with. So, I have all the housing I need for the 30 people. And this terraforming pattern is perfect because that allows me to clear out even more of the farmland. I'm going to be in food shortage, but I'm not worried about that because I have plenty of resources to be able to get people farming again. So now I'm in food positive, metal positive, glass positive. Everything is pretty green across the board. And we're ready for that immigration wave. Done. So we hit the checklist of 30 people. And we can start working on the pool. Taking a look at the tech tree. Your colony is getting pretty big. This would be a good time to focus on keeping people happy. Community centers tend to improve happiness. Try building one of those. And just so you know, you can construct some buildings on top of tunnels or even basic housing. I think I have some ideas. So here's what we have access to. Glass production, terraforming tools, or farm utilities. But then the efficient housing leads... If I get glass production, it leads to efficient housing, which gives me community center. That's obviously the path we're going to go. So she just advised me to build a community center. And this community center improves morale in a radius around it. And that radius can also be adjusted as well. And I'll show you that in a second. So there's the community center. And we can... Well, tutorial's taken over. Not bad. Happiness dictates how many new people will want to join your colony. And it's calculated using the average value from all houses in the colony. And factors create noise pollution in the area, which has a negative impact on happiness. So I'll try to build factories further out from residencies. All right, for building that improve happiness, you can adjust the area that they cover. This is what I was about to say. Choose the community center and try adjusting the area to cover as many residential buildings as possible. So building your housing in clusters, specifically like 5x5 clusters with the corners snipped off, is kind of ideal. So here I can move the area to which the community center serves and center it over like here where it covers all the housing, and then also possible future tiles that I will add as well. And up here you can see the benefit. Penalties to morale. As your colony grows larger, you have to supply more morale bonus things to offset the cost of a large colony. So that's sort of the cost that you will face. And let's go ahead and use TNT. Blowing up some of the areas where we can build housing in the future. So other checklists. Reach a population of 60 and research luxury housing tech. So at this point, just a big push to supply the housing and all of the resources for a larger pop. There's also houses up from basic houses, and they consume less power, and they can develop and improve as well. So like this house here, because of adjacency bonuses, the community center has now a population of 7, whereas the basic housing has a population of 5. And these improved styled housings can only be built on regular ground. They cannot be built on sand. So you're disincentivized to build like a giant Tatooine, in other words. All right, I have space for 11 more people. And we have an immigration wave in 2 turns of 10 people, so that works out. So I want to add housing until we have a population capacity of about 60, because that's the goal of the scenario. But one thing you might be able to tell now is after building this house, that gets me up to 53, none of the other spots I have for housing that are available would be ideal, because this spot falls under the noise of the factory, so I'm going to want to clear out these tiles here in order to build some additional houses. But we can offer for the newest immigrants to come in. So 2 more immigration waves and we'll hit that 60 mark. Another thing you'll notice is, you know, as people are being added, more food, more water, more power, everything scales up. So at this point, I can either decide to make water condensers to get a little bit of water for each investment, or a brand new water pump, which might be more ideal. The brand new water pump, however, requires a bit of invested infrastructure to run a water pipe and power cables all the way over to it, but I think that's probably the better call in this instance. It's just going to require me to save up for a few turns. Oh! Except for this is a brand new pattern that allows me to make water. Well, that's pretty easy. So, the water pumps do have adjacency bonuses, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this pattern here to blow up this mountain, and then to make water next to the original pump. And then the original pump will then have, as you can see, that adjacency bonus. Boom. Run one of these at half capacity, and now our water problems are solved. But not our housing problems, because I don't have enough space for everybody. Worst case scenario, I could always build a house that doesn't fall under the benefits of a community center, because as Esther explained, the morale bonus that you get is averaged out of all the houses. So if I don't have one house in the community center, it's not the end of the world. It just gets averaged out, so it's not a big deal. So I'll just do that, because it doesn't matter that much. So like this house's morale is still in the positive because it has adjacency bonuses to the community center, which cancels out the factory, but then this house has adjacency bonuses that provide benefits to the house adjacent to it, which makes it a better spot than if I put it over here, where it wouldn't necessarily benefit from adjacency. We're up to 50. One thing you'll notice is, unless I get this terraformed, pretty soon I'm going to be flat out of food options, meaning that I'll have to go over here for food, and I don't have a valid path to get over there until I clear some of the wasteland around here. Just thinking a little bit further ahead. Yeah, I like this spot. So the thinking behind this is I can fill in one of the canyons to be able to go west where there's water. And then also I produce minerals here where I can put another factory. The problem with putting a factory, actually, in hindsight there, and if I wanted to undo it, I could just hit undo, is the adjacency penalties of a factory being put too close to farmlands. So I'll do that instead. I do have options for trade, but I'm good. I don't think I need to take advantage of any of them. I will need to expand the power grid, though. We're kind of in the power negative. This sort of helps. So in this case, I can either try to, here, this works. So why here? It improves the tile underneath this house to make a better house, and then it clears this wasteland here, which was a terrain blocker to this water. I think that's probably the most strategic thing to do here, where I can make this a nicer house, and then, you know, if I need more farms, I can put a tunnel system all the way to this farm. It's far, but now that I have the income of the factory, it's more affordable than it was before. So there we go. We've hit a population of 60, which allows us to get some additional technology and unlock the ability to make pools. For the most part, the main driver of unlocking technology is to hit population milestones. There are other ways to gain technology that you gain access to later on, but for now, it's pretty much restricted to just growing your community. It's time to wrap it up. Here's a water terraforming set. Use it to create a lake near the residential district and then construct a swimming pool. If I create a lake, let's say here, it's right in the heart of my residential district. And then the swimming pool requires 1 terraform tech, so I can just import that from somewhere else. So for me to afford this, I need also glass, because I need 35 glass. So there's 2 different ways, of course, to get that. I could either set up a glass factory, but I don't have any silicon deposits that are like conveniently located that I would be able to do in the next 6 turns. So I'll just import the glass. That might make more sense. Another thing to note is I'm in the food negative right now, but I think I'm going to win this scenario soon enough that food deficit isn't going to be an issue. Boom. And this pool requires reinforced power lines. So it requires high power lines. Done. We did that 25 turns, so I've gotten the side objective of doing it within 30. Great work, Marco. This is one of the nicest pools I've ever seen. Hey, if the people want a pool, let's give them a pool. All sides, all times, main objective, it's all done. And we are a junior specialist. All right, Marco. I'm sure you're dying to know what's so top secret about your next job. Again, if I had read through everything, this would make a bit more sense. But you're not in the dark alone, which is why I invited you to this call, Victoria. I demand answers. And I'm a man of my word. So answers you shall receive. To get down to it, you're gonna be going underground. There's this ideal spot on the surface where we want to build a new colony, and it's essentially sitting on top of a resource gold mine. We'd like to take advantage of these underground resources and use them to power the new colony, just like with the resources on the surface. You'll have to hire some specialists to help you with this one, but I'll walk you through that once we get to work. Doesn't sound too tough, though I have to say, none of this sounds very top secret to me. My thoughts exactly. And what's the reasoning behind requesting my expertise? Well, it's because there's something else down there, something we couldn't quite reach until the technology was ready, and now it's ready. Weren't exactly sure what it is we expect to find, which is why you're going underground with Marco, Victoria. If anyone can identify whatever's down there, it's you. We will not let you down, will we, Marco? Not a chance. So, objectives. Have 40 electronics, something else to be revealed, completing the main objectives by turn 75, installing a trade shuttle module, and terraforming 4 times with a drill. Drill, baby, drill. Cheers. This is almost too exciting to bear, Marco. To think there may be hidden anomalies and passages beneath our feet. Let's not dawdle. As it stands, we won't be able to make our way too far underground without enough resources. Well, pretty obviously, the center tile here, this one looks ideal. Has the most farmland, so yeah, that's where I'm going to settle. But here is the underground. So there's this tunnel that leads underground and this tunnel that leads underground. So that's another concept to consider, is we want to be near these underground passages because this main objective has us going underground. So being somewhat adjacent to these passages, i.e. don't like settle up here, we're really far away from it. All right. Starting... So 2 houses, 1 factory. I'm avoiding the errors I made last scenario where I didn't get a factory really early on, which hurt. And then I'll lay the infrastructure. Oops. Well, actually, I did anyway. I'll lay the infrastructure for a greenhouse. Pretty good start. Oh. I don't have landing platforms. Let's add those 2. So, checklist done. I hit population of 10. Research scouting tech, so that you can construct scanners to help us pinpoint resources, various anomalies, and paths underground. The anomalous research camps can help us identify our findings. Knowledge is progress. Marco, let's pursue it. Your excitement is contagious, Victoria. I'm on it. So, this map, unlike the previous ones, have these weird anomalies. So, each anomaly... A lot of these anomalies will give you electronics, and one of my main objectives is to have 40 electronics, so they're going to be really important to exploit. And then this one gives me glass. And those are all the anomalies I know of right now. But then the also gain access to something called a scanner, which will show you additional hidden anomalies that can offer you other resources. However, I am not going to listen to her right now. I'm instead going to get water extraction and energy conservation, because I feel like they're more immediately important. So for me to unlock the scouting technology, I have to raise my population to 30, which is what I'm going to currently work towards. So of this terraforming set, I got to decide whether I want to shovel 2 tiles or raise up 2 tiles or nuke a mountain. So nuking a mountain, I think, is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to nuke these 2 mountains because this gives me access to this underground passage. Because I don't think I need to clear these wastelands anytime soon, because we have a lot of farming opportunities here, so I think this is the best call. Plus, shovels are the most common. And, hey, we randomly found a rock anomaly. Just by chance. It was there and I didn't know it. So, huzzah! Immigration in 2 turns, but I'm going to use my minerals to prep for that. And build the housing ahead of time. I also need to plan out a solar array. And it looks to me like down here is really flat and open, so I'll put the solar array down here. One thing to consider is I don't want to block off access to the tunnel, because we want to be able to enter it through tunnels. So, like, I can't put solar in this tile, because then I wouldn't be able to tunnel through it. Some objects like housing or greenhouses or factories, you can move it through, but solar panels you cannot. They don't allow you to build tunnels underneath them. Thank you for watching Farlanders, which originally streamed live on Twitch September 5th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community, Rhadamant.com or the description of this video have a link to Discord. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I'll catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Martians.